Well, a day has passed since I wrote that, and we've actually got a new study out that does attribute a little bit of the rain to climate change. So there are rapid attribution models and companies that do this now. They say it was 7% more rain because of that. It's true that we've had huge floods in this area. Flash Flood Alley in Texas is not named that for no reason. And so they do get a lot of water. This was made more intense. So we're in this weird thing where we still don't know everything that happened in this tragedy and all the reasons that contributed to why it was as bad as it was. But the lesson I took away from it is that, climate change is making these things more devastating and intensify more rapidly. And this had the hallmarks of that, even if you can't get the thumbprint of it right away.
When I was reading your column, I was thinking to myself, who really is in charge of informing citizens, Americans, of extreme weather? If this thesis holds, there's going to be more extreme weather events. Who's supposed to be in charge of telling Americans what's coming next and how to prepare for it?
Yeah, and your question gets at the heart of one of the mysteries here that we still don't quite know all the answers to, but it's a daisy chain that starts with, say, the National Weather Service. You got meteorologists who say, oh my God, there's a big thing coming. And they tell somebody who tells a local authority, and the local authority then has to figure out a way to tell all the people. Now, one of the problems with, say, Camp Mystic or these places along the Guadalupe River is that this has been a thing that they've talked about for years because they have had big, devastating, deadly floods there. They've for years talked about, well, we've got these things that send text messages to people if there's a flood coming, but not everybody gets the text because they're in these hills and they don't have good cell phone coverage. And so maybe we should put some big sirens on the river that sound off so nobody can miss it when it goes off, but they haven't been willing to pay for that yet. So it's somebody dropped the ball along the way. People didn't get text messages. Some did, but many didn't. And unfortunately, you need everybody to know that a disaster is headed their way. And right now, we are dropping that ball somewhere along the way.
The National Weather Service has come under scrutiny in the days following this. We did hear from Department of Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem, who said that President Trump is upgrading the National Weather Service. What do we know about that?
Well, again, the first thing we know is that far from being upgraded, the NWS is being downgraded. It's losing a bunch of jobs, losing a bunch of people. It's not able to launch weather balloons as often. There are a whole bunch of pictures to the mosaic, pieces of tile for this mosaic that helps us build a picture of what the weather's going to be that we're starting to miss because of this. Now, that said, various sources have suggested that the NWS did the best it could do in this situation. It did its job. There were enough people there. It gave dire enough warnings. It was like, look, guys, the rivers are going to flood. There could be deadly flooding. Get to higher ground. It said that. Now, not everybody got that message. It didn't predict 20 inches of rain, but there's only so much it can do right now. But with the degradation that we're seeing under Trump right now, we are going to see more and more instances potentially in the future where people don't get the right messages, where people don't get the right warnings. And that's the fear that I have.
What about this idea of warning fatigue? And I can tell you right now, on my phone, messages today have popped up. It's 93 degrees in New York City. I've already gotten a message about severe thunderstorms tonight pop up on my phone. I've also gotten one about flooding until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. But I just swipe these aside because I get these so much.
Yeah. I mean, warning fatigue is a huge potential risk here because you are getting these alerts. You're like, oh my God, here we go again. And if we have worse weather forecasting, the risk of that rises because you might be told, get out of your house, it's going to flood, and then it doesn't. It's the boy who cried wolf again and again, and then the fifth time it actually does flood, and you should have listened to that warning. The thing that we can't do, it's sort of like climate change writ large to some degree. The thing we can't do is become inured to the disasters, become inured to the changes, become inured to the suffering that people are going through, because it's very easy to do. We're adaptable human beings. It's just our evolution. We adapt to anything, but there are some things we don't have to adapt to this. This flood didn't have to be that deadly. We may have a lot of floods, but we can figure out a way to get people to higher ground and save lives. We don't have to have campers drowning, God forbid, in storms like this, but it happens all the time, mainly because of our failures. Now, we are also failing to protect the climate. We need to stop burning fossil fuels more quickly because these disasters will become more intense in the future if we don't do that. But right now, we already have intense disasters, and right now, we're not doing everything we can to protect ourselves. It's just that simple.
Help clarify, there have been people talking online about layoffs at these various levels of government, people speculating that maybe DOJ played a role in this because if people lost their jobs, there weren't enough people in the chain of command to alert people of this tragedy. Can you just help us clear up, what do we know so far about the potential role that job cutting could have played in this?
Yeah. So it seems like maybe when we're talking about dropping the ball, getting the message from the NWS to the people on the ground, maybe that's where the layoffs had an effect. Again, we're still trying to sort all this out. There are also reports that we've said that these were some of the best staffed NWS offices in the country, but that means they're only, say, 80% staffed as opposed to 50% staffed, So it's kind of a low bar at the moment because a lot of places have really been gutted. So for this particular emergency, we still don't know exactly 100%, how much this affected it. We could say that, the NWS did the best it could, but I think, again, looking to the future, it's these kinds of low staffing circumstances are going to lead to more of these situations where fewer people get warned, more people die, more property is at risk, that sort of thing.
Just 20 seconds. It seems like climate resilience has to be a big part of this. I mean, if you go to Lower Manhattan, you see that there are essentially berms being built on the coast to prevent a storm surge during Sandy from happening again.
Yeah.
Is that the answer?
Resilience is the answer. The problem is you need money, and these states, Kerr County in Texas, didn't have the money to build its sirens. A lot of these places need federal dollars, and the federal government right now is cutting those dollars off. So we need to change that.